introduction, everyone.
My name is Barta Heiner, and I am a professor at Brigham Young University in the Theater and Media Department.
Cool.
BFA Acting. I used to be the head of it, but I'm not anymore because I'm graduating this year.
Started as new.
When I was here in undergrad, she was only a part-time faculty, which is when I got involved. I actually got to know her. I was in a play that she directed, Mislines.
So I only worked here part-time for about a year or so, a year and a half, something like that. And then I went and did Quilter's Tour and then was at Denver Center for about 2 or 3 years. And then Whitman called me up one day and said, hey, we got a slot. We want to have a stronger acting program. Do you want to come? And I said no, because I was enjoying what I was doing. And because I was performing at Denver Center, but I was also teaching in the conservatory. So I kind of had, what's the best of both worlds. He told me that I needed to come, and if I didn't come, he was going to break my legs. And so I thought, okay, he asked me to pray about it, and I said, okay, I'll pray about it. And it's the same thing. I would go, okay, I need to go back. No, I need to stay. No, kind of thing. And so then I quit praying for about 2 weeks. I don't know how long it was, but I just was like, I don't want to talk to you right now because you're not telling me anything. So finally, just one day, I was thinking about things, and I got the feeling, it said, you're teaching a lot of amoral people how to succeed. Who's teaching the ones that are trying to be good? And I was like, okay, fine. Okay, so that's why I came back to BYU. When I first came, it wasn't, the idea of a Bachelor of Fine Arts wasn't in the mix. It was just more acting classes. So I put acting classes together that were pretty much based on the MFA program that I had had at ACT.
Well, I mean, when I was going here in undergrad, there was nothing. I mean, I took 123 at the time, which was just beginning acting. And I remember the curriculum at the time, they did everything in there. They were doing Shakespeare. They were doing Shakespeare in like a beginning class. And they were doing all kinds of things. Just, they didn't really know how to train an actor the way, you get that kind of training in graduate school. So her putting it more into a model that reflected what, the way she was trained at ACT was fantastic. So
I tried to put a program together that was really strong so that if they weren't able to get into an MFA program or whatever, or even if they didn't want to do an MFA program, they still would have the training necessary to succeed, so that they could be competitive, even if they didn't get the higher training. So that's what I put it together first for. And then Eric Fielding eventually became the chairman, and he said, let's make this a BFA. And I was like, I don't think this is going to pass, I'm telling you. And he said, no, let's go for it. And I was like, okay, let's go for it, kind of thing. So that's how it became a BFA.
When I was a student, I studied a BA in acting, and as I was finishing, the program was transitioning to a BFA. So I was in the first group, I think, Barta might correct me, but I was in the first group that had to audition to get in the program.
When I came here, there was only one movement class for actors, and it was kind of general, and it didn't really delve into anything that I felt was necessary for the actor. So that's when I decided I was going to add a yoga class, and the stage combat class turned into 2 different classes, beginning and an advanced, and then I started the character mask class, which at the time when I first started, it was just a neutral character mask class.
Things I added, it was more a classics class, like Shakespeare. We had, we put in more, like the 424, which is the advanced acting class, where we went into Chekhov and, Shaw, and all that kind of stuff. And we added more movement requirements, and we added, more voice. But it wasn't until it went into a BFA that's when we had to go, okay, how many credits in acting, how many credits in voice, how many credits in movement? Because you have to, the NAST requirements for, national accreditation for schools, or, in theater or whatever it is. I can't remember what it is now. But you have to have so many credits in each area, so many credits of electives and stuff. So that's when we had to start going, okay, well, let's expand out and add classical voice, or let's make the one voice class into phonetics and, voice or whatever.
She was already preparing the coursework, and she was already preparing us for, we already had senior projects in a sense. So it wasn't a really difficult transition. She had been preparing the BFA for a few years, and so it was really easy. The hardest part, the most, I think, anxiety-ridden time was having to audition again. But now I understand what students feel like when they have to do proficiencies. 2 of them, maybe 3.
I don't see any other way to achieve a higher level of excellence unless you bring it into a realm of audition, so that talent or whatever is at a certain level, so that you can, through training, bring them up to be able to compete with what the world's doing out there, because there's some incredibly trained actors out there.
Yeah, to me, what we teach is the basics, and it's good for whatever theater you choose, whatever type of theater you choose to do. And it's still what film is based on. It's still what, so to me, to say it's obsolete is not true. I would go in and I'd show them what I had, and Eric Fielding was chair at the time, and so I got advice from people, but it wasn't like, oh, here's a team of a committee. There was no committee. It was just me doing it, and then I'd go in and get advice from people. So
I understand that it was quite the accomplishment to have a BFA program, and it requires dedication and commitment that not all programs are willing to put forward in support of this kind of program. And Barta especially, she really had a vision, and she really stood by her vision and worked to accommodate that, and she's done that ever since.
I think it's fantastic, because I think LDS artists want to be able to do that caliber of work, and I think they need to be able to do that caliber of work, but there's not always places for them to do that, because when you get out in the field, you may not want to participate in some of the stuff that's going on, but that doesn't mean you can't still be an artist.
our plans are big, our hopes colossal. We hitch our wagon to a star. Where there's a will, there's a way. You can't hold a good man down. And so how do I feel about teaching at BYU? I feel that that's what God needed me to do.
I actually was told that this is where I was supposed to be, that I was going to get a job here in teaching. So I just followed that. And I went, that's one of the reasons why I went back to school, to get my training in graduate school. With that in mind, that I was going to graduate and do whatever, and then eventually I was going to come here. And that's exactly what happened. Weird, huh?
By an act of God. No, I'm really serious. But I came back to Provo. My husband was working in Salt Lake City, and I taught adjunct at BYU. I had some great successes. That's my son. I enjoyed teaching classes, and then a position opened up, applied, didn't get it, just kept working at BYU because I felt like I needed to be there. Applied for another position that opened up, and I got it.
Christ gave up his life for us. So that we could improve and go home, you know? And I've totally forgotten the quote. What is it? To bring to pass the immortality and eternal life of man. And if he was willing to give up his life for us, and if we believe in the gospel and believe what is supposed to happen or what is supposed to be projected, then we should be willing to do whatever the Lord, whatever God needs us to do to accomplish this task, because we're all here together, we're all in it together. We all have different paths. Some of us, when we get out of here, we might leave the church, or we might, stay in the church. We might not go into acting like we did. We might find other avenues that, happen for us. But what's important is the integrity of the individual, I think.